Howdy, gang. As you can see, I am in a different location because I'm in our living room today because it's warmer in here um, than even it is back in the back room where our computers are at, where I usually do these, even with the heat on, like the little heater on back here. So I am still sick, as you may be able to tell. I am not working today. Um, so I am currently sitting on our couch in the living room. Try to, oh, she get your head out of there. Um, I'm trying to keep the dog out of the window because Steve has done some winterizing, which is putting some kind of plasticky stuff over the window to keep like cool air from leaking into our living room. And I try to keep Darcy from um, tearing holes in it, which defeats the whole purpose of doing this winterizing. So if I seem a little bit off my game, it is because I am once again running fevers again. I'm aching. I've got a cough. I have headaches. You know, I won't bore y'all with all of that. Um, so I am not working, even though I do work from home. And some people might say, well, that's silly. You can go ahead and work. You're not having to get out and get out in the elements, and you're not having to travel to work. All you got to do is make your way back to your desk. Well, that is true. That is certainly true. However, um, as any of you that have had COVID knows, that sometimes with COVID, it's a struggle just to sit upright. And so I'm not feeling well at all right now, but um, I'm getting tired of laying around and stuff like that. So I decided, the least I could do is sit here at my tray. This is a tray that I've got my tablet sitting on, and I'm in a relatively warm area. And so I thought, well, maybe I can sit here and do a few minute live stream. And you may be thinking, well, why am I doing a live stream instead of doing a pre recorded video? I don't know. I miss doing the live streams. And since I've been sick with COVID, um, I have not been doing nearly as many of these as I used to. So just forgive how I look. And, this isn't the best angle for me. I don't like how it makes my chin look or anything like that. But, beggars can't be choosers, right? And y'all aren't really on here to look at me. I hope you're on here to see what Dana's talking about today. So, if you can forgive my appearance today, and I hope Sammy doesn't start barking again. I'm going to do another corn on the Cobe. I was going to do one last night. I just didn't feel up to it. So I thought I would do this today. Give me a chance to move around, sit upright, and all of that instead of lying down. So um, I am planning on me and Steve doing finally doing our roadhouse. Sorry. Something I wanted to say before I got started with all this stuff is I know that um, StreamYard has changed things around and stuff like that. So if for some reason I sound real staticky on here, can someone please put in the chat, hey, you're breaking up, you're staticky, Dana, because some audio settings might have gotten changed back to what they shouldn't be. And I noticed that back when I was doing the movie munchies a lot more, some of my movie munchies would be real staticky when I was talking using the tablet. Okay. So just let me know, please, somebody. I know there are three of you watching right now, or it appears that three of you are watching. If somebody can tell me if the audio it sounds really bad, okay? So, anyways, um, me and Steve should finally be doing our Roadhouse commentary this Saturday at starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time, unless Steve tells me different, which I'm going to ask him again. But that's the plan anyway. Um, and then also, Russell had a pick. He gave a $5 super chat the other night when I was doing a live, and he picked Thief starring James Caan. So evidently that is on YouTube. So if you want to join me Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be doing a watch along for Thief. And if you want to be able to watch it, according to Russell, it is on YouTube. So that's probably how I'm going to be watching it because I do not own a copy of this film. Also, the following, well, not the following Saturday, but the Saturday after that, Menelec gave a $10 super chat and he mentioned the film Dog Soldiers. So I will be doing a watch along in a couple of weeks, Saturday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in a couple of weeks, like I said, for Dog Soldiers. So if you're interested in that, be sure to tune in for all those. We got Roadhouse, we got Thief, and we have Dog Soldiers, all coming up soon. Also, there's going to be a return of the movie Munchies on January 19th, where I will be making killer mac and cheese from the Castle Rock cookbook and or Castle Rock Kitchen, whatever it's called. Castle Rock Cookbook, Castle Rock Kitchen. It's a cookbook with a bunch of recipes based on Stephen King stories and novels. So you can tune in to, well, not tune in, but you can watch that on the replay because I am no longer doing the movie Munchies as live streams because it's a lot easier to do them as pre recorded videos. So you can set out a time to watch that after Sunday or on or after Sunday, January 19th, whenever I do the movie Munchies for the Killer Mac and Cheese. So I think that's pretty much all the announcements I got, except, head on over to deadicesondeck.com and put in your order for t-shirts, mouth pads, tote bags, tumblers, candles, what have you. I also do custom orders. There's a form you can fill out right on the site to let me know what you would like to see, okay, or what you would like to have, and I will quote you a price on that. If we can come to an agreement, then I will work my magic and see what we can do for you, okay. So let's get to the topic of conversation, which is corn on the cob. We're going to be talking about Tear on Tour and Home Sweet Home, which is one that, oddly enough, um, I know Sandy Cobe had something to do with it. I see I just got a message, but I will check that on Messenger as soon as I'm done with this live stream. Um, but strangely enough, even though I know Sandy Cope's name is as producer on Home Sweet Home, there is a newer movie called Home Sweet Home, which shows up on the Internet Movie Database, but the Home Sweet Home from the early 80s does not. And it does not show up on Sandy Cope's filmography. However, if you've seen Home Sweet Home from the 80s, you know that Sandy Cobe shows up as producer on that film. Don Edmonds shows up as being an actor, and I think also producing. He did not, um, or did he? I think he did. Yeah. Or no, that was Nettie Pena. Oh, the COVID's getting to my brain, people. Nettie Pena, I don't know who this person is, but Nettie Pena is the one that directed this. But I do believe Don Edmonds had some kind of producing credit, and he also acts in this film as well. Okay. So we're going to get to Home Sweet Home here in just a second. But I wanted to start out with the first film, which is Terror on Tour, which is a hated film by a lot of horror fans. Um, I haven't ever been able to figure out why. I personally don't, to each his own. But I have never found the film boring. Yes, it's low budget. Yes, it's badly acted. In fact, it has a lot of bad female actors in this film. It's chock full of them. Okay. It does also have the guy that played the soup Nazi, or I think they have to call him the soup Nazi now on Seinfeld. He plays the band, the Clowns. He plays their manager in the film. Okay, so you will see an early performance by that guy. The band in the film playing the clowns was actually a real band who I believe had recently broken up, called The Names. And the Names, I've listened to their actual music that they put out, and I don't think it's too bad. Um, in fact, I kind of like it. And the stuff as the clowns, where it was kind of like, they're cutting up mannequins on stage and pulling the arms off mannequins and throwing them in the audience, and it's just really, it's just really horror esque type stuff. And the band even talks at some points. We used to be pop meisters. We used to do the pretty stuff, and that didn't get us an audience. And then we switched to what we're doing now. Um, and they have, your typical rock girl groupies who are just interested in having sex with what they believe to be rock stars. So that's where the dim-witted girls come in, because the guys, being typical guys and having a little bit of fame within the movie, they get to have these parties with drugs and, as their manager says, loose women, drugs. He tells the manager of the venue where the clowns are playing, he tells them, the scene. And the theater manager, is played by Sandy Cobe. In one of his, you know, maybe his only acting role. I'm not sure if he acted in any of the other films that that he produced or not. Okay. So, um, so we have this band called the Clowns. They put on clown makeup. They have these afro wigs on, and they wear these kind of what Steve would refer to as lame costumes. I think they're okay, but so some people said they were trying to emulate Kiss. I don't know for sure if they were trying to emulate Kiss or not. Um, to me, the makeup looks different enough from Kiss's makeup that I don't feel like that's what they were trying to emulate. Because Kiss never, they were kind of like a larger than life type of cartoon like figures that played some great music, in my opinion. I've always loved Kiss. Um, But to me, the clowns were different. Yeah, they put on makeup, but a lot of bands put on makeup at one time. It didn't mean they were all trying to imitate Kiss. So um, I like the music okay in it. Um, I, it's standard slasher fare. Somebody is putting on the clown's makeup and the wig and their costumes and killing people behind the scenes. Some women get killed at the big party they're having, and it's not anything super elaborate. Yeah, the film is dark. It has never, as of yet, had a proper release. So some of the killings are a lot harder to see than they might be in some other movies. Excuse me. Um, but I don't really feel like there's anything so awful about this movie that I can't watch it. And I have seen it several times and I enjoy it every time I see it. I have subjected Steve to doing at least, I think, three different commentaries. I've done a commentary on my own channel or a watch along on my own channel for it. Um, is it the best movie out there? No. But is it the worst movie out there of this kind? No, it's not. Um, but I always say, like I said earlier, to each his own. And there is a lot of hate that's been projected towards this movie. I've seen very little love towards this movie. But I honestly don't hate it. I would watch it again anytime, any day, and be able to get some kind of enjoyment out of it. It has bad acting in it. The print is dark and muddy. Like I've said, it has never had a proper release, and some people might say that that's a good thing. Um, I would like to see a proper cleaned up release to see if they could get it cleaned up as much as possible. I have heard that I think this was the one where the print, there may not be an actual print, that there was maybe fire damage where it had been in the building where it was stored. And they might have to piecemeal it if they ever, it's not had a DVD release that I know of, definitely not a Blu-ray or a 4K release. I would at least like to see a Blu-ray release, even if they did have to piecemeal it. But, I would say if you can give it a try, it's on YouTube. Steve found a really good copy um, that he downloaded at one time. Um, and I had never seen this version of it. And it opened up with like Astral Films or something like that. And so that was probably the best I had ever seen it. If somebody does decide to do a Blu-ray or something like that, and they can get a hold of that print, like I said, I think that's probably the best print that I have seen of that movie ever. Because I've watched VHS and stuff like that, and they're all muddy and they're all dark, and it is hard to see anything in some of the darker shots. Hey, Menelec. And but if you have never seen Terror on Tour and you can find a for free copy on YouTube or whatever, I would suggest that you give it a try. At least give it a try. And you might hate it. You might be like the majority of a lot of other horror fans that have watched it and don't care for it at all. And that is fine. But I just always like people to make up their own minds about a movie. I don't want them to just listen to me. I don't want them to just listen to other people. If I'm going on about something and saying that it's a pretty cool movie, it's a pretty decent movie, I'm not telling you to go spend money on it, but I'm saying to just give it a chance if you can find a for free version. And I'm saying that about this the same way I would any movie that I get on here and talk about. Even a movie I hate, I would tell you again to make up your own mind about it. Okay. So, out of the many, rock horror films that were produced at one time or another, um, I think this one stands on its own. I think it is halfway decent. I'm sorry if you hear Sammy, he's sleeping and having a dream. Sammy, Bubba. I have to talk to him sometime because he, anybody that's had dogs or cats, that sometimes that they have dreams. Sammy, shh, good boy. It's okay. I think he woke up just then. But so anyway, what would I give this? Well, I'm probably not going to give it my top rating, but I am at least going to give it 4 deadites out of 5. And I know. A lot of people are going to moan and groan, and they're going to say, "I can't believe it, Dan. I can't believe you're still talking about that movie in this light." You know that you can give it that kind of rating. Um, Depending on the day, I might give it 5, but today I'm going to give it 4 deadites out of 5, and I think it deserves that in the pantheon of slasher movies or rock slasher movies that have come out. I really don't think it's that bad. And I would urge you to find it on YouTube or wherever you can find it for free version and give it a try, because it really um, it's not that bad. It really really is not. Um, I hate when I do this. Uh, on here. Stop, stop. Sorry about that, folks. They see stuff out the window. That's why I don't normally stop. I don't normally like to do streams from in here or videos or anything because there's so much noise and stuff going on. Um, but um, okay. But anyway, um, I'm having trouble concentrating because of that noise there. Um, but anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll move on to Home Sweet Home, which is the one that I don't know why it out of all the movies. And if somebody can prove me wrong on this, I would not be upset. If you have seen Home Sweet Home show up, and I'm talking about the 1980s Home Sweet Home. There is a newer version that's a horror film that's called Home Sweet Home, but that ain't the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one from the 80s. I cannot find it on Internet Movie Database. It's like it doesn't have an entry for it. And if it does exist, because I've seen it more than once. And I know that Sandy Cobe had a producing credit on this. So, and I believe Don Edmonds did. I know Don Edmonds acted in it. And it was directed by Nettie Pena. Again, I don't know who Nettie Pena is. I don't know if anybody has ever been able to locate Nettie Pena and talk to him. I know Jackie Kong was found, who, was responsible for Blood Diner. But as far as I know, nobody's been ever able to locate Nettie Pena. We don't even know if that's a man or a woman, or what the deal is with that person. So, or if they're dead or alive now, or whatever. But Home Sweet Home from the 80s is, believe it or not, a Thanksgiving horror film. And here's another thing: a lot of people that don't like Terror on Tour, that despise Terror on Tour, have a greater appreciation for Home Sweet Home. I do not. Um, I mean, I don't hate it. I enjoy it for what it is. Um, but I find Terror on Tour infinitely more entertaining than I do Home Sweet Home. I usually include Home Sweet Home in my catalog of Thanksgiving horror movies to watch, because it seemed like at one time there weren't a lot of Thanksgiving horror films to watch. There were a lot more Christmas and Valentine's Day and all of that. But so we were kind of, us horror fans that like to watch seasonal like horror films, were kind of limited at one time. Now, as of the last few years or so, there have been more of those Thanksgiving movies, um, with the killer turkey, which I don't much care for, but they're out there. Um, Eli Ross Thanksgiving, which was, um, in my opinion, the greatest Eli Roth movie that's ever been put out. So we have a few more to add to our catalog of films that we watch during that time period. Um, but Home Sweet Home tells the story of the Bradleys, the most mismatched group of people I have ever seen. I don't know how the these people fit together as a family. Don Edmonds is evidently the patriarch of the family. And we have Jake. It's not Jake Seinfeld, as I thought for so many years. It's Jake Steinfeld with a T, who did the Body by Jake stuff, and he has had a few acting roles, including the crazy, the psychotic killer in Home Sweet Home, who uh, breaks out of the asylum. That's not, new, right? And he has Home Sweet Home tattooed on his hand. Where he got that, I don't know. I suspect that he probably did not get it in the asylum. Uh, but you have this great, big, muscle bound dude. Um, and he likes to inject PCP into his tongue, which is seen in an earlier scene. It's kind of gross. And he kills this guy who is visibly drunk and says, "Want a beer?" And he kills that guy and takes his car. And I don't know, it is never explained if he just comes upon the Bradley's house and just decides to stop there and kill anybody that's there, or if he is a relative of theirs. Nothing like that is ever explained. And I'm not saying it has to be explained. It's a low budget horror movie. What do we want from this? And um, among the family members of the Bradleys, we have someone who's affectionately referred to as the mistake, who is dressed like a mime, who goes around with an amp on their back, playing a guitar and playing pranks on people and irritating everybody in the family. I don't know how he fits into the family either. You have another guy that comes that looks like he's a tennis pro with his girlfriend, and of course, all anybody is interested in is having sex. And there's a young girl, we don't know, Angel, we don't know who she belongs to. Um, we have somebody who we think is Don Edmonds' brother in the film, and he has a Hispanic girlfriend who is singing and playing the guitar, and yeah. So and we have another like dark haired woman who we don't know how she fits in. We have a woman that I guess is Don Edmonds' wife in the film, or a girlfriend or something that he insists on uh, messing around with at different times and stuff like that. So, not a really, complicated plot, which I don't think you need a complicated plot for this movie. You wouldn't have needed a complicated plot for Terror on Tour either. But um, the film makes about as much sense as any film like this, right? And I enjoy it for what it is. I enjoy Terror on Tour a little bit more than I do this one. Um, but if you want to add a movie to your Thanksgiving horror buffet and you don't want to have to think a lot and you want to see a bunch of stuff that you can laugh at and possibly have your own commentary for, then Home Sweet Home fits the bill. Um, and I'm not going to give it as high, and people are probably going to moan and groan again, but I'm not going to give it as high as I did Terror on Tour, but I'll give it 3 deadites out of 5. Um, Possibly 3.5, but again, I don't have the half on there. So if y'all want to visualize a half there, at one of these times, I'm going to have the half on there. But anyway, I guess that is it from me. Um, And I want to thank everybody that joined me for this little live stream, even though I know I wasn't at the top of my game. And Mental Lake was the only one that was actually chatting in here. So I hope that everybody could hear me okay, that it wasn't staticky or anything like that. But I've got about 28% battery on. Sorry about that. Probably, hey, listen, that's probably not a clue to get off of here for the day, but I want to thank all of you guys and gals for watching this. And I'm going to get off here before my battery goes away. I'm off like a dirty shirt. I know you can't see my shirt very good. This is my Buffalo Bills body lotion shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. I'm out of here for now, folks. I'm going to get some rest. And I'll see everybody next time.